On a spring afternoon, within the Bamboo Grove Sutra Society, a gentle breeze stirs warmly, causing the bamboo leaves to rustle softly and carrying a faint, refreshing fragrance. Yashodhara, clad in plain monastic robes, was slowly pacing through the bamboo grove. His expression appeared calm, yet he could not conceal the inner doubt. A profound question regarding female practice had long been entangled in his mind. She was once the wife of Prince Siddhartha, and later followed the Buddha to ordain as a nun. Diligent in practice within the Bhikkhuni Sangha, she conducted herself with poise, embodying both compassion and wisdom. The passage of time left few marks on her face. Rather, it deepened the serenity of her demeanor. However, over the years, the notion that it is difficult for people to attain Buddhahood has often lingered in his ears, making it hard for him to completely let go. Recalling the time when he first joined the monastic community, doubts and voices of skepticism were incessant. Some said he could not let go of his attachment to the Buddha. Others claimed that women were inherently bound by attachment, and some confidently cited the so-called 5 obstacles to assert that women could never attain true enlightenment. Yet in Yashodhara's heart, there remained a steadfast belief. Since the Buddha often taught that all sentient beings possess Buddha nature, why should women be excluded from this truth? This issue is like an undercurrent lurking deep within his heart, causing occasional ripples even during his chanting and meditation. He deeply understood that if he did not resolve this troubling issue, it would be difficult for him to advance thoroughly in his practice. Today, the Buddha is also practicing in the Bamboo Grove Monastery. Perhaps this is the best opportunity to seek his guidance in person. Yashodhara calmed her thoughts and gently approached the Buddha. With hands clasped together and eyes respectfully lowered, she said, "World-honored one, I have often heard people say that women have 5 obstacles, making it predestined that they cannot attain Buddhahood. The disciple does not understand the principle and earnestly requests the world-honored one to provide guidance." The Buddha's gaze was compassionate. He gently nodded and offered his seat. At this time, several nuns resting not far away also hurried over upon hearing the sound, including Mahapadipudi, Lianhuis, and Jayaphampoti, among others. They usually built the monastic community together with Yashodhara and were equally concerned about this issue. Seeing the Buddha about to teach, they all respectfully fell silent, staring intently at the teacher who guided sentient beings on the right path. The Buddha looked at the nuns and slowly began to speak. It is often said among the people that women find it difficult to attain Buddhahood, frequently citing the so-called 5 obstacles, which prevent them from achieving the forms of Brahma, Earth Demon, Mara, Wheel-Turning Sage King, or the Buddha body. Many people develop contempt and doubt towards female practitioners because of these statements. The Buddha paused for a moment, as if contemplating how to transform profound truths into simple words. Subsequently, the Buddha continued, "All of you present are bhikkhus engaged in the practice of the Dharma. Your minds and concentration are no less than those of men. You should know that the Dharma fundamentally lies in the liberation of the mind ground, not in differences of form or appearance." What exactly are the so-called 5 obstacles? And what kind of hindrances do they represent? Moreover, why does this concept exist? These questions merit thorough investigation. Yashodhara asked somewhat eagerly. "I am a dull disciple and have not been able to completely dispel my doubts regarding this matter. If it is said that all sentient beings inherently possess Buddha nature, why then are women condemned with the 5 obstacles? Could this not be the truth, but rather a misunderstanding or prejudice?" Upon hearing this, the Buddha smiled faintly, raised his eyes toward the depths of the bamboo grove, and continued, "The concept of the 5 obstructions does have its origins and is not entirely isolated. However, it primarily refers to certain worldly states or levels as presented within specific teachings. If one clings to the mere appearance as the sole truth, obstacles will arise, causing one to overlook the fundamental new transcendence and liberation." Mahaparaji stepped forward and earnestly said, "Bhagwan, If everything depends on the mind nature, then why are there still so many prejudices in this world? Especially for those of us in the female form, we are often questioned due to external differences, and some even think while chanting sutras in the assembly hall, how can women pursue the path on equal footing with men? The Buddha's side locks hung low as he answered softly. This is precisely because most people cling to meditation and deep contemplation, neglecting the fundamental wisdom of liberation that transcends all appearances and illusions. When people exaggerate external differences, they give rise to numerous prejudices. In reality, the male and female bodies are merely temporary vessels entrusted to sentient beings within the cycle of samsara. If one recognizes the pure nature of the mind, one will not be bound by distinctions of gender. If one stubbornly clings to this, various obstacles will arise. With a single word spoken, the bamboo grove fell into a brief silence. Yashodhara exchanged glances with the other bhikkhunis, feeling a sudden clarity amid their confusion and eagerly longing to hear more detailed explanations. They understand inwardly that the attachment referred to by the Buddha is not only a misunderstanding of the external world, but also a deluded clinging to the self. As realized in meditation, all phenomena, if regarded as permanent and unchanging, inevitably become a form of bondage. The Buddha perceived that the people still had doubts, and after a brief pause, he continued. In fact, countless eons ago, there was a bhikkhuni who, with steadfast faith, dispelled various preconceptions of others and ultimately attained the most sublime and exquisite state. Her karmic connection can resolve the doubts you currently have. Listen to me. The Buddha gently closed his eyes slightly, as if gazing back upon an ancient memory from countless eons ago. In the distant past, this bamboo grove did not yet exist in the mundane world, nor was there the flourishing fruition as there is now. In a certain land, a man named Lotus Moon was born. She was born into a wealthy family and displayed extraordinary spiritual insight from a young age. Though born into a life of luxury and fine clothing, she never greedily clung to indulgence. Instead, she yearned for the tranquility of the mountains and forests, aspiring to seek true liberation. At that time, people held even stricter prejudices against women's spiritual practice than those of the present. Many people believe that women are inherently sentimental and weak, and are entangled in worldly affairs, making it difficult for them to attain lofty spiritual realms. The Lotus and Moon lived in such an environment, constantly facing suspicion and obstacles everywhere. However, his inner mind remained steadfast. If the essence of practice lies in the nature of the mind, why be attached to distinctions between male and female? Yashodhara, in a moment of uncontrollable reflection, recalled the discussions about women from the time he renounced the world. In the figure of Lotus Moon, he seemed to faintly discern the shadows of the past. The Buddha looked at him and the other bhikkhunis' expressions and smiled, saying, "When Lien Huayan was at the brink of his youth, he had already abandoned wealth and honor, venturing alone into the deep mountains to seek those of high virtue. Ultimately, he encountered a venerable and virtuous monk named Zhiguang, who had practiced for many years in a deep and secluded mountain valley. With a single glance, Zhiguang perceived the clarity in his eyes and recognized his extraordinary ambition, thus accepting him as a disciple. During the days of practicing alongside Zhiguang, Lotus Moon diligently cultivated daily, reciting morning prayers, meditating at noon, and listening attentively to the Master's teachings at night. Although she is born a woman, she possesses steadfast determination and boundless compassion. Shortly after their association, Zhiguang said to him, "In practice, sincerity and concentration are most precious. If one can completely let go of attachments, there is no distinction between male and female. However, if you cling to this, even if you are considered a wise man, you will still be attached to delusions." These words planted an even deeper faith in Lien Huayu's heart, inspiring him to redouble his efforts. The Buddha spoke with a voice gentle yet imbued with strength, as if one could behold the image of the Lotus Moon chanting scriptures amidst the mountains and forests. Then, with a solemn expression, he continued to speak. His reputation gradually spread, attracting many practitioners to come and seek his guidance. However, this also aroused doubts from some who fancied themselves highly talented. Among them was a practitioner named Shan Wan, who was skilled in debate. Upon hearing that Lian Huiyu was delivering a Dharma talk at the monastery, he felt disdainful and decided to challenge him. One day, Shan Bian publicly questioned Lian Huiyu, saying, "You are male, naturally inclined towards passion and afflicted by the 5 obstacles. How can you possibly comprehend the ultimate truth? Is this not a grandiose claim?" He then presented various arguments about the difficulty for women to attain Buddhahood, attempting to leave Lian Huiyu speechless. But Lotus Moon remained composed, simply abiding in the calm after meditation, gently responding, "Although the 5 hindrances are indeed recorded in the scriptures, have you ever contemplated their true meaning and what they actually refer to? If one merely reads the words and thereby generates attachment to gender, this becomes an even greater obstacle. Attachment to girls or boys is like pointing at the moon with a finger, but only staring at the finger, forgetting the moon itself." Upon hearing this, the assembled bhikkhunis all displayed expressions of thoughtful contemplation. The Buddha observed their expressions closely and continued, "At the beginning of fickleness, there is an unwillingness to be outdone," repeatedly citing scriptures and classics, attempting to venerate the lotus and the moon through words alone. However, whenever he discusses distinctions between male and female, Lotus Moon responds with the fundamental great principle that all phenomenal forms in the world are inherently illusory. He told Shanxian that if one clings to gender and does not let go, one is clinging to external appearances. If one lets go of distinctions between male and female, all beings before the eyes are none other than equal sentient beings. Where does the female body come from, and where does the male body come from? After several rounds of debate, Shan Yin realized that his arguments were all based on discriminative mind and concepts of gender, whereas Lian Huiyu's words directly pointed to the human mind. Thus, through mutual interaction, Shan Xian rejoiced in attaining Buddhahood and immediately offered sincere repentance with utmost effort. As these words were spoken, it was as if a gentle breeze swept through the bamboo grove, calming the hearts of all present. The Buddha then gently said, "Lotus Moon, in your future practice, you will increasingly free yourself from the bonds of external contempt and doubt, advancing unwaveringly on the path with a focused mind." At the moment of his passing, he manifested various auspicious signs, revealing to the world that the so-called 5 obstacles are never the fundamental reasons preventing sentient beings from attaining Buddhahood. The true impediments lie in discriminative thinking and attachment. His deeds have also left valuable insights for future generations. The Buddha paused his speech, his gaze once again directed towards the bamboo grove. Yashodhara and several monks seemed still immersed in that ancient and inspiring story. For a moment, even the doubts in their hearts appeared to sway with the sound of the wind, gradually loosening. The Buddha, Shakyamuni, Yashodhara, softly asked, "Then, what exactly does Padmasambhava prove? What insights can it offer us?" His gaze contained eagerness, tinged with a hint of relinquishment. The Buddha slightly nodded, indicating that there was no need to hurry, for the forthcoming teaching was precisely intended to unravel their final mental knot. The Buddha slowly raised his gaze and said calmly, "Look at the bamboo grove. Who among you can easily distinguish which bamboo is male and which is female? They are equally full of vitality, standing against the wind alike, with no distinction of superiority or inferiority. Even if there are distinctions of male and female, how does that hinder their upward growth?" Wanting to speak hastily? While speaking, he gestured for Yashodhara and the others to come closer to examine the dense bamboo before them together. Yashodhara noticed that every bamboo stalk was straight and upright, crisp and fresh, whether it was the roots, stems, or leaves. all seemed to possess a vibrant vitality. It inevitably reminded him of the Buddha's earlier teaching that all phenomena with form are illusory. Indeed, the human eye cannot distinguish which bamboo stalks in this grove are male and which are female, yet this does not hinder their coexistence, standing upright together between heaven and earth. The Buddha continued, saying that in the world, men and women are often regarded with significant distinction, with the belief that women are trapped by the five aggregates and find it difficult to attain the path of merit and liberation. However, whether men or women, if they are bound by attachment and their minds give rise to desire, anger, or various delusions, it is like bamboo infested with worms, gradually corroded from within by internal forces, making it difficult to grow vigorously and upright. If one can absorb nourishment naturally like this bamboo grove, embracing the earth and sunlight without discriminating external appearances, one can flourish with resilience and strength. Upon hearing these words, the assembly of bhikkhus could not help but exchange smiles, as if their minds had suddenly been illuminated with clarity. As demonstrated by the lotus and the moon, the path to Buddhahood lies in letting go of attachments, abandoning inherent biases toward forms and identities, enabling one to grow upright like bamboo, and ultimately perceive the bright realm of enlightenment. He secretly hoarded, perhaps precisely because everyone stubbornly wanted to distinguish each other by outward appearances, various limitations arose. If one can see this bamboo grove, as the Buddha described, one will no longer be disturbed by distinctions of male and female, and will be able to perceive its natural and pure vitality. At this moment, with the gentle breeze blowing, Yashodhara gazed upon the clear scene before her, overwhelmed with a myriad of emotions. He recalled his life in the palace, where no matter how much wealth and glory he enjoyed, he could never escape attachment to his status and emotions. After ordaining, he also carried various secular doubts, and even within the monastic community, he occasionally heard biased views towards the female monastics. However, as the story of Padmasambhava illustrates, all appearances are but fleeting clouds. The true obstacles never lie in the physical forms of male or female, but in the attachments and distinctions held within the mind. The Buddha, noticing a slight change in his expression, softly said, "If one clings to gender, one will assume that women are inevitably deeply entangled and unable to let go of attachments and affection. Such bias is unfounded. The Dharma is boundless. The Dharma is boundless." Once people firmly believe that women are unlikely to attain Buddhahood, they overlook the originally equal Buddha nature inherent in all beings. In the past, Padmasambhava overcame worldly prejudices. Now, may you also be able to do the same. The deeper the attachment, the greater the obstacles. The more thorough the letting go, the more complete the liberation. Yashodhara received these words in her mind, and a transcendent joy arose within her heart. He recalled the various hardships he had endured throughout many years of practice, and also remembered the countless nuns who silently persevered in their dedication. They may have been underestimated by others, yet they continuously elevate themselves through their practice. Those monks also felt at ease, as if the knot that had previously entangled in their hearts had turned into a wisp of smoke in an instant. Mahabodhi smiled faintly and signaled Yashodhara with a glance. From now on, they must cultivate even more diligently, not only for their own practice, but also to pave the way for more female practitioners in the world. If a person's mind can transcend the shackles of gender, caste, and identity, they can truly experience the boundless possibilities brought by the mind free of discrimination. In the gentle breeze, the flickering candlelight seems to softly applaud this moment of enlightenment. The Buddha gradually arose and walked toward the depths of the forest, leaving behind the essence of equality and non-discriminating mind. The crowd followed along, yet their hearts had already attained enlightenment. As long as one is no longer bound by distinctions between male and female, and lets go of prejudice and attachment, anyone can embark on the same bright path leading to liberation. At this moment, the sunlight is warm, and the bamboo gently brushes past its pointed tips, as if also comforting the countless practitioners in the world, advising them not to harm themselves or fall into traps. Confidence is originally unobstructed. As long as one bravely moves forward, progress can be made step by step, like bamboo breaking through the soil toward a realm of purity.